Hey, friends. You are listening to the Tilt and Shift Photography Business Podcast. I am your host, Bobby B. Today's episode is my favorite topic, and that topic is breaking up with perfection. I have been a stalwart bastion of this movement for probably the last 7 years because I spent the first, I don't know, 30 years of my life deeply striving for perfection. And that came about as a result of me trying to manage various traumas that I had had. And I thought if I could control everything, then I wouldn't have to feel the anxiety or the pain or all of the fallout that comes with that. So I'm a type A personality. I'm a Virgo. I'm an Enneagram 8, all of these things that lead directly to this deep desire of being of everything being perfect. And so when it comes to photography, I hear from a lot of photographers, and I see it in a lot of photographers' work, this striving for something that is perfect. And if there's anything I've learned in the last 7 years of my life, now that I'm well into my 40s, is that perfection is just a bunch of bullshit, my friends, and it doesn't exist. And it is, in fact, a form of procrastination. It is a form of avoidance, and it is a form of um, holding you back. It is a way that you hold yourself back for fear of what is on the other side of something if it's not quote unquote perfect. Because if we can control everything, that means that we don't have to feel the emotions that come along with things not going quite the way that we want them to. And usually we want things to go a certain way because we don't want to feel a certain thing. But you can't live like that for very long, my loves. You can't do it. It results in a life of constraint and isolation and challenging relationships, and including the relationship that you have with yourself. So this is Mama B giving you a little heads up as for what's to come. If you're someone who considers yourself perfectionistic, the way that this would sort of manifest in your photography business in and of itself is uh, holding off giving images or um, designing things because you don't think it's perfect, or like agonizing over each and every image, like every element of color and positioning and shape, and then diving even further into it, like what if this my subject doesn't like the fact that she kind of looks like she has a double chin here, or what if they kind of look funny when they're kid, like all of these thoughts that go through our head that stop us from creating, or that stop us from seeing what it is that we are actually providing for our clients. And oftentimes we do this through judgment, and we're judging ourselves within the image that we've created for people. We're judging the people that we are shooting. If any of this stuff speaks to you, you, my friend, are struggling with perfectionism. Um, So today I wanted to chat with you about two ways that you can deal with that in how you're actually shooting, coming from a reformed perfectionist. The reason that I dive so hard and rally hard for documentary photography is that it ditches perfection, absolutely ditches. Although I will acknowledge that there are lots of rules around documentary photography in terms of composition and technicality or technical prowess and that sort of stuff. And those rules are meant, depending on how you interpret a rule, a rule, rules can be guideposts for you to learn something about how you're working. And then when you learn that rule or that guidepost, then you can use it to your advantage and you can break it. So Yes, I am acknowledging that documentary photography comes along with a lot of, especially if you look at documentary photographers from the like the 40s, 50s, from the heydays of Magnum and stuff like that. There's lots of rules that teachers of documentary photography tend to impress upon their students. I am not one of those rule uh, like stalwart rule followers. But in my group mentorship storyteller school, I teach you all the rules. And then I teach you how to use them to describe your own innate perspective so that people understand you, so that people can like really understand your voice. And that teaches you how to bend those rules and break those rules with the intention of truly understanding your perspective and being able to create really impactful photos that will have people coming to you because that is how you break that rule. But I digress. The two methods of breaking up with perfection is they both come are a derivative or are derived from the idea that presence stops perfection in a good way. Presence over perfection. So when we are trying to make something perfect, when we are posing people, when we are giving direction, when we are telling people what to do, because that's what we expect them to expect, or it's because it's what we expect, or it's because it's what we envision, that is taking us away from being present. Being present is the antidote to perfection. Being present requires you to be curious. And I've talked about curiosity as an antidote to perfection as well in past podcasts. So when we are present in the moment and curious about our people and what's happening, that is the antidote to perfection while you are shooting. While you're editing is a whole nother thing. And we can talk about that if you join Storyteller School. But today we're just talking about presence as an antidote to perfection. So people often ask me, okay, sure, be present, but how? Like if I'm a perfectionist, how do I learn to be present? There's two ways. There's two very physical ways that I have found really work for me in my photography, and they tend to work for my students as well. One really simple thing that you can try, it's very mechanical, is what I see a lot of photographers do is they're shooting, they see something, they pull the camera up to their face, they shoot it, and then they put the camera down. Right there, you can make a big difference to how you shoot and how present you are by keeping your camera beside your face. What I like to do is I just kind of rest it on my shoulder because then it's only like 6 inches away from my eye. And if you're watching the YouTube video of this, I'm actually kind of demonstrating this with my hand. It's not making a lot of sense if you're listening to this while you're driving. But what I do is I have my hand on the hand grip, obviously, and I rest the bottom of the camera against my shoulder so that the lens is kind of like against like facing in towards my neck. And then when I feel something happening, so this is the element of being present. When you are present, you can actually feel what the people around you are feeling. If you let yourself tap into that by listening, by watching, really paying close attention to the energy in the room or in the garden or the change room, wherever the heck you are, if you are just present and using your senses to observe things, not just your eyeballs, using all five senses with your camera against your shoulder, resting on your shoulder, it is 1/2 a second for you to get your camera right to your eyeball to be able to take the photo as you're feeling it come. So what that will do for you is it kind of interrupts that time from it takes from you to have it on your hip so you see or feel or hear or smell the moment happening, and then your brain has to process that, and then you have to move, like you have to do a kinesis thing, kinesis, you have to move your body to bring it from your hip up to your eye. So that all takes a lot of time. Whereas if you've just kind of got it resting beside your cheek or your shoulder, even like resting right on like your cheekbone, having it right near your eyeball allows you to document the moment when you are in it and present with your people. Okay. So that's tip number one. Keep your camera really close to your face the whole time. Try not to put it down by your hip. So maybe some physiotherapists will suggest not, because that's maybe not ergonomically correct, but there's many other ergonomic things that photographers do that we could work on more so than just resting your camera against your shoulder. So give that a try. Let me know if that brings you closer into the moment, or at least more present to be able to like work on it right then. You've got the image right there because your camera is literally right there beside your face. The other thing that helps you to be present over being a perfectionist is getting closer. Getting much closer than you are comfortable being. If you've never done this before, even moving one foot forward is going to make you feel like you're entering that zone of discomfort, which is amazing. That is where you need to go, my friends. If something makes you feel uncomfortable, it's there to teach you something. So I really encourage you, get uncomfortable, because before you know it, you're going to be very comfortable with where that is. And if you are comfortable being in that space, your clients will be too. If they see you waltz in and you get nice and close to them, everybody's like, oh, okay. So that's the body space that we're working with. People adapt so quickly when they've hired you to be there and they want you to be there. You are doing them a disservice by standing 10 feet away. Because truthfully, if you are standing 10 feet away, I guarantee you there is a friend or a family member who is right beside you shooting with their iPhone. They can make the exact same photo as you do standing 10 feet away. So the way to change that, the way to be more present, is to get closer. Okay. Get closer. I want you to dance with them. I want you to eat with them. I want you to run with them. Like, do what they are doing, be in it with them. And that is what is going to create raw, emotive, vulnerable photos, because you are as close as they are. Now, how is that an antidote to perfectionism? Because you're being present. You are physically being present. And I think it's really easy to talk about perfectionism from the physicality of it before we start getting into the mindset tricks of like, okay, how do you deliver the photo? How do you get over the judgments that you have over yourself if it's not perfect? So today we're simply talking about how do you get over that physicality of things not being perfect, because we tend to create this zone of safety. Perfectionism is safety between us and our clients. So those two tips: camera as close to your face as possible, so that when you are there and you are present, you are listening, you are watching, you are feeling it with them. Your camera is going to be a millisecond away from your eyes, that you can make the photo that you're feeling with them. How do you feel things with them? You've got to get close, way closer than you think you should be. If you are using a telephoto lens and you are trying to make documentary images, I just kind of like gave you a little like knuckle rap there. Oh, sorry. There's no corporal punishment on the Tilt and Shift Photography Business Podcast. That was just a little love tap to like get you to change your lens. Put on a 35. Shoot a whole wedding, a whole family session with a 35. You will see how close you need to be. And when you get that close, you will see how different your photos feel. You will be present in the moment with your clients. Presence is the antidote to perfection. I hope that was helpful, my friends. If any of this rings true for you, any light bulbs go off for you, I love getting emails from you and being like, hey, I never thought about it like that. Or like, hey, that was absolute bullshit, Bobby. Just let me know that you're out there. I really love hearing from you. If this has brought you anything, if you want to leave a review, that would be really, really cool. Getting reviews on your podcast is a really good way for people to find you. So, or to find me. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, and I mentioned it earlier, is that my group mentorship storyteller school, the wait list is now open. And the reason I'm doing a little wait list is because I want to drum up some interest over the next couple of months, and then I want to start it probably in January. But if I can fill those spots prior to January, we're going to start whenever the cohort is ready. So by signing up for the wait list, you will get up to $1,000 off. Ding, 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 ding. Who doesn't need that right now? And yeah, the link to the waitlist is in the show notes. And as I said, documentary storyteller school is for documentary interested people, people who are already documentarians, people who just want to like increase the repertoire of skills that they have in their photography. If they want to look at things in a different way, storyteller school is super effectively designed to help you figure out what makes you unique. We figure out what makes you unique, and then we learn how to translate that into your images using documentary ethos. So at the end of it, you will have a brand new website, brand new copy. You will have a new client experience. You will know how to price your collections. You will know so much more about your business and yourself with this course. Um, it's everything that I am. It's everything that I've ever learned, and I really, really, really love teaching it. My students are exceptional human beings, and I would just love to have you in the course with me starting in January. So get on that wait list. I'll send you all sorts of information, and you can save up to $1,000. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a beautiful day. Presence over perfection. Work on it. Let me know what you think.